Minnesota Twins win Game 3 versus the Phillies in walk-off fashion. We're breaking it all down. It's coming up next on the Locked On Twins POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Twins POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Back in the lab, back at it, another Minnesota Twins POSTCAST episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. You got myself, Luke Inman, at Luke_Spinman. That's the man, Theo Tollefson. Twins expert over at Zone Coverage, MN. He's on X, at Theodore Tollef1. And Theodore, before we jump into all the action from today, quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Use code, this is all lowercase, LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Okay, Game 3 versus Philly, a huge opportunity to take a series from the best team in baseball. They would have to do so, though, with Steven Okert making a spot start. He didn't even last an inning, man. David Festa comes in, kind of calms things down. He was great, all things considering. 4 1/3, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. Got to love that. The problem was the bats. Matt Wallner only run through 6 innings after he hit his 4th home run of the year. In fact, Twins were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. They left 7 on base up to that point. So Twins down 4-1 in the 7th. Bases juice. Kepler knocks one in. Santana knocks in 2 more with a huge game-tying double. Bottom 9 we go, all tied up. Trevor Larnach hit by a pitch to start things out. He gets over to third base with 1 out. Philly shift the infield in, but Max Kepler, just a little broken bat nubber, finds the soft spot of the zone. That gets Larnach home, and that was all she wrote, man. Twins win Game 3, take the series in a walk-off dramatic fashion. They jump back up to 56-45 on the year. Kick us off, man. Biggest takeaways, kind of your A topics. Then we'll talk about Festa and company next.
Well, after that 6th inning where they had the bases loaded, that was the 4th time they had the bases loaded this series and did nothing. They redeemed themselves in the 7th and finally did some damage and tied this game up. Kepler got that fielder's choice, although there was some downside in that 7th inning. Brian Buxton get a hit on the pitch. It didn't look as severe as some other injuries we've seen him with, but I think they're just playing caution with the off day tomorrow. So let's take advantage of that while we have it going on. And that's, I think, the biggest takeaway. They finally, when it mattered most, took advantage of that. Carlos Santana, who has been killing lefties all this season, made the most of it. That base is clearing double. And I think we also got to shout out Joan Duran, who struggled mightily last night in the top of the 9th, redeemed himself big time, getting the minimum out on just 10 pitches, which is huge.
Absolutely huge for sure. Again, need a little confidence booster, like you said, after last night. And just knowing, too, you're getting Royce back here any day. Hopefully, Correa.
Royce is actually going to be joining the team here shortly. He's set to join the team on the flight. I think he's already left the ballpark here at CHS. So
yeah. By the way, Theo live at CHS right now. Just got to watch Royce Lewis for the 2nd day in a row, up close and personal. So you're saying he should be with the team Game 1 in Detroit tomorrow, day off, Friday in Detroit, Game 1.
Yes, and Miranda likely will too. They want both of them getting 2 games in. Miranda obviously having the first game for himself today. He went 2 for 4 with a couple singles, so we'll take what we can get. And yeah, after Buxton getting hit by a pitch, it's like, okay, maybe there might be something there, but I think just because it didn't look as painful, let's just play it cautionary. Took him out, didn't want to overwork him. Off day tomorrow. We'll see how he wakes up on Friday and go from there.
Man, vibes are great. So, again, just knowing you're getting Royce back Game 1, Miranda not far behind, Correa hopefully not far behind Miranda. Just how big of a confidence booster was this to take a series versus the best team in baseball? Vibes are good right now all of a sudden, right?
Absolutely. And I think it can't be any better for anyone than Joan Duran. Again, I think we got to really just compliment how he turned things around. Complete 180 from last night, complete command of the strike zone, and doing it against the top 3 hitters in the Phillies lineup, Schwarber, Turner, and Bryce Harper. I mean, that's very complimentary, and it just shows, this team, despite all the injuries and the downsides of these past 5 games, they still got some fight left in them. Sure, you don't want to have a 5-game homestand end 2-3, but you got to take what you can get, especially now that you're 4-20 against the teams with better records than you in baseball.
Yeah, for sure. Not the prettiest start, but a good finish here to this 5-game homestand, like you said. You mentioned it, like a lot of lack of clutch hitting, a lot of talk about that the past few games. Before that 7th inning rally with Santana and Kepler, Twins were only 12 for 73 with runners in scoring position in their last 7.5 games. So just to your point, brutal clutch hitting. How do you dissect a stat like that? Like, is there something more to go off other than, hey, we're missing our 3 best hitters right now? Like, what are you supposed to do if you're Rocco to fix something like that?
I think it comes down to hitters first and foremost. Their approach. You can blame coaching and the hitting coach all you want when it comes to that, but again, it always comes down to the batters are the ones taking the at bats. I know Julian had another called strike 3 here this afternoon, which did not look pretty. So it comes down to them and their own judgment of the strike zone at the end of the day. So if they're not taking it, they need to change something in their approach.
Yeah, no, well said. It makes sense too. And again, hopefully with these 3 big names coming back, everything should start to revert back to the norm again, at least in that, again, runners left on base, runners in scoring position, those types of stats for sure where they've struggled. Let's talk about the pitching rotation today, just kind of how everything unfolded. Okert gets the start, only lasts a couple batters. Then Festa comes in, kind of lights it up, all things considering, right? Spot duty, coming in kind of cold turkey, 4 to 3rd innings, 4 hits, only 1 earned, 7 Ks, 8 swing and misses on 73 pitches. Okert and Festa, what'd you see from them today?
Well, Okert was only going to face the first 3 batters of this game. That was the plan all along. And Festa came in at a bad spot, but, he made it work. I think that second inning really was his biggest challenge. And, he did not allow any runs, had a few walks there. And obviously these are some of the best hitters in baseball, and they finally see why he was one of the best strikeout pitchers in AAA all this season, getting that swing and miss stuff that I've seen a lot of down here in St. Paul that a lot of people haven't been able to see at the major league level, including the hitters. And now it's finally shown itself. And I think that is very big compliment, especially considering his last time out at Target Field, things were not even as good as they were for him this afternoon. So I think, he's probably going to get optioned back down within the week. And now that he has that, back under his belt, a little more confidence, that's still a good thing no matter what, despite whether he's still with the team to make another start when it's the next turn in the rotation for what would be Paddock's spot or otherwise. So, yeah, you got to just enjoy that while you can.
You may have answered my next question, but what do you like most about Festa's game when he's on the mound? Like when he's at his best, what's his best tool or skill set that kind of helps set him apart?
Oh, yeah, it's a swing and miss stuff. And, his off-speed slider and changeup, those are still things he's still working on here and there. But, when those things are on top and he's cooking with them, it's something else. It's really on par with what you can see from Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez with their own strikeout stuff.
Absolutely love that for sure. Does an outing like that change anything at all when it comes to Rocco in the front office making a move for another pitcher at the deadline? Just seeing Festa flash some good stuff today, does that influence their decision at all at the deadline next week, do you think?
I don't think so. I think they're still going to try to add a starter if they can. Just because, he's still only 24 years old, only has 3 outings in the majors underneath his belt, which is not enough to really make a judgment on this is what we're going to do for him for the rest of the season. You can still go around with him for the long term planning to have him in the rotation, but with so much at stake, especially after how you played against the Brewers, still got 8 games against Cleveland to really battle for this division. I think you just got to not just work with what you have and try to take advantage of the opportunity. And as I wrote yesterday, Monday, James Paxton is the best option for that in terms of the Twins' budgetary restraints. But, we'll see what happens the next few days. And if you can hear the noise in the background, Saints scored another run, so they're up 5-2.
Yeah, I was going to say, everybody going nuts, congratulating David Festa's performance today on the mound there in the background. Rocco report time. Favorite, least favorite move, decision, whatever it may be from today's game. So game 3 versus the Phillies, the Rocco report, it says what?
I think we got to just keep this one on the burner until something gets addressed with it. Manuel Margot is now 0 for 24 in all his pinch hit opportunities this season with the Twins. So I think something needs to be addressed there. Again, he's the one taking these at-bats, but even if you're platooning him like they did with Wallner, you got to just address something here.
Yeesh. Yeah, not great. Not great stuff. What do you like about Brooks Lee at shortstop and Castro at third like they were today? Or is that just strictly just to get Julian at second base where he's clearly at his best?
Well, I think you can make any maneuverability in the infield with Willie Castro and Brooks Lee on the roster. I mean, both of those guys can play second, short, and third base very comfortably. I think you're going to get much better defensive prowess from Brooks Lee at shortstop than you will Willie Castro. But again, I think, as you put it, it might be just an opportunity to let Edouard Julien be playing where he's most comfortable defensively at second base and not first base. I know possibly next year there might be more opportunities for him to be that platoon guy at first base as the left-handed hitting side of it. But as of right now, with how this roster is currently made up, that was like just the best thing they can do.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, man. So many options, so much versatility with Rocco in his back pocket, and it all starts with Willie Castro for sure defensively. All right, plenty more deep dive from this one. We got our nerdy stat of the day. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, this episode brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. And eBay Motors, they got everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to the ultimate peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights. They got it all. And whether you're into speed, power, or style, they got you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back with all the parts you need at the prices you want. Easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Hey, what do you think about Matt Wallner just making the most of his second opportunity back up? Another home run today, his fourth on the year. What's the temperature on him right now? And do you think he's here to stay for a while again? Like, he's been rock solid since he got called back up, right?
Yeah, he's been looking solid. I mean, he crushed that into what we would refer to as the Jim Thome territory of the Twins home run. It's at Target Field. So, I mean, yeah, he's still striking out pretty frequently, but that's to be expected with him. But he's looking a lot more comfortable at the plate. I mean, yes, last night we were talking about his throw out at second base to really save the final out for Simeon Woods Richardson in his start. So yeah, I think he's here to stay, definitely. And the left-handed hitting side of things, I think when it comes down to it, he's moved himself up on that left-handed hitting totem pole of outfielders. It's him and Larnach who are here to stay. Whenever Kirilloff is activated, he's the odd man out now.
He may be the odd man out, which is crazy to say. You say that same sentence 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, man, and that has a totally different meaning for sure. Totally random here. I heard someone mention Randy Dobnik's name the other day. What in the world is going on with that guy nowadays? And why is he never even like an option as a call-up guy? What's going on with Randy Dobnik nowadays?
Well, he's finally gotten back into the groove. I wrote a story about this about a week and a half ago now for zone coverage of how he had 5 straight consecutive starts of allowing 2 earned runs or fewer. He's since upped that to 8 consecutive starts. So wow. I think he's finally back into it. I think there's a great possibility he will be back up with the Twins sometime before the season is over, whether that's going to be a long relief role or starting role. Otherwise, I think that opportunity is finally earned himself. Obviously, 2022 has dealt with a lot of injuries with his fingers. Last season just did not look sharp. I think he was still just trying to reconfigure some stuff after battling a lot of missed opportunities in 2022 with his injuries. And now he's just finally been that consistent starter that the St. Paul Saints have had down here. And hopefully, as long as he keeps this hot streak going for himself, I think he will probably be back on the mound for them tomorrow night. So I'll probably have a chance to talk to him then. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Love that. Yeah, got to go check that piece out over at zonecoveragemn.com for sure. You mentioned it, unsung hero, unsung MVP today from this win, Yohan Duran. I heard Aaron Gleeman talking about the fact he's not getting as much swing and misses on his curveball this year, I guess. I mean, that's more for somebody like you. But did something change with that pitch specifically this year? Or is the fact that his velocity's down just a little bit kind of make everything else a little easier to hit right now? Like, what's your take on his quote-unquote struggles, I guess, lately?
I mean, I am not looking at his spin rates on his specific pitches, so I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it is and what it isn't. But I think, there's some league adjustment now that, with the velocity being slightly down off his fastball, even though we know it's still there. His outing that Saturday out in San Francisco, he was hitting 102, 103, no problem. Just letting everything out. So we know it's still there. It's just a matter of the league's adjusted to him. And now, he's just not trying to crack under the pressure. So,
right. That's kind of the chess match when you get to all major league sports, man. There's an adjustment period, and then it's on that person or that team or that a side of the defense, offense, whatever it may be, to adjust back now. And now hopefully we can see Duran continue to adjust the other way now that these hitters have started to adjust to some of his best strengths as well. You got a nerdy stat of the day today? Some sort of crazy stat or fun analytic Twins related? If so, lay it on us.
Well, like we know, they're now 4-20 against teams with better records with them, and that's just a funny number because it's immaturity hour. But anyway, I mean, they haven't been this bad against teams better than them in a long while since I would like to say 2018, maybe even 2021.
Yeah.
So, it's a good place to be. The Tigers, like we mentioned yesterday, they are 12-3 in their last 15 games. I can't remember if they're playing. No, they're playing this evening against Cleveland. So it's like you want them to win.
A little bittersweet
but do you
here.
Want them to
double-edged sword here. Yeah,
be this hot still. Yeah,
right.
So.
Right. No,
anyway.
I get it. Well, speaking of that, good segue. Don't go anywhere. We got to preview their next series in Detroit with Pablo on the mound for Game 1. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members to date. And for me and my money, by far the easiest and most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. All you got to do, so simple. You pick more or you pick less on 2 or more player stats and you watch the winnings roll in. Baseball season, obviously in full swing. So whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less and add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code, this is all lowercase, Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Okay, day off tomorrow, then it's Detroit, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What are you hoping to see from Pablo in Game 1? And part 2 of this question, you told us yesterday, and you already teased it just a minute ago, Detroit's been red hot. What's been their secret sauce, though, lately that's made them so dangerous that, the Twins need to kind of look out for now?
It's their pitching. I mean, Tarek Skubal, Reese Olson, they have just been phenomenal in the stretch, and their offense is finally clicking. While the pitching, everything's just clicking for them at the right moment to, kind of be an outlier in this wild card chase and for that third wild card spot. So we'll see what happens as the final 2 months enter. However, I think with Pablo Lopez being on the mound Friday, he is coming off one of his best starts of the season. There's a lot of hope that he will keep that momentum going. And the Tigers, correct me if I say his name wrong, but Kaider Montero, he's a rookie, 24-year-old righty on the mound for him. So, again, another rookie having to test himself against an all-star caliber pitcher like we saw today from the Twins. Although he wasn't the official starter, Festa was primarily doing that against Aaron Nola. So now it's just vice versa. It's going to be Detroit sending a rookie out against an established all-star who's coming off a hot start.
Phenomenal breakdown there. Really good nuggets. I'm just curious because you were at the Brewer game. You reported live from the postcast from Target Field. You talked about this is the most people in attendance ever, right? It broke the record. How much do you attribute the low attendance numbers this year to all these fans that just aren't able to watch their team, the Minnesota Twins, on television nearly as much anymore this year?
I mean, the Brewer series always draws in big crowds.
Yes,
that's always a given, and fortunately, the momentum stuck with this Philly series. I think there was average attendance of like 30,000 something over these last 3 games,
phenomenal.
Which is good.
Yeah.
So I think we did have an update. I didn't get the full breakdown. I didn't read it, at least, on what happened in the bankruptcy court hearing that they had today down in Houston between Diamond Sports and Comcast. There might be some updates there in the coming weeks. Follow Phil Miller. Nice catch there by Anthony Prado at third, who came into the game for Jose Miranda. Let's give a little play-by-play real quick. It was a great snag. Anyway, had to shout that out real quick. But, Phil Miller of the Star Tribune has been down in Houston covering this in court, so he's going to be your go-to guy if you need the updates on what and to have the best understanding of what we're going to see as hopefully more accessibility can come. And I hope that people are going to the games because they can't watch it on TV or they're my age and they just don't know how to listen to it on the radio, which is not that hard, young people. But yeah, I mean, it's a good sign. They're playing really well, and people are still interested in seeing them go. Of course, people are still going to have their gripes, and I think we are a lot more in tune with the gripier side of Twins Twitter than the average casual fan who's in their 40s, subscribed to Comcast and blacked out. So we'll see what happens.
That makes sense. Does it surprise you we're still dealing with this whole Bally Comcast mess? And at this point, how does this thing end up getting resolved someday? Where do we go? What do we got to do?
I think the pressure mounts because we're getting closer to the start of the NBA and the NHL seasons. And fortunately, when this really fell apart for the Twins, and if we're talking national sports broadcast wise, those 2 seasons were already wrapped up and they had it in agreement that 2023-24 would be their last seasons having Bally carry their teams. So that made things a lot easier for them. But yeah, baseball's just a mess. I know the Atlanta Braves have had a lot of a similar situation with the Comcast accessibility and Bally. So yeah, I think there will definitely be things will be moving in a direction. I'm not going to label it. They're going to be moving in a direction over the next few months. So we'll have some.
I get it, man. We'll have to keep tabs on that article and all the latest that's going to come out. We'll keep you guys updated on Friday's game. I know you got to get out of here. You got to go down to the clubhouse, check in on the scrum over there at CHS Field. Always love talking Twins with you. Twins walk-off winners in Game 3 versus the Phillies today. 5 back from Cleveland right now. They play Detroit tonight. Day off tomorrow, then off to Detroit this weekend. First pitch Friday, 5:40 p.m. Huge shout-out to all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. Rest assured, we'll be back each and every game right here to break it all down. Quick reminder, got to go check out all of Theo's work on X at Theodore Tollefson, plus all the work he's always ripping up over at ZoneCoverageMN.com as well. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel. So close to 8,000 subscribers. That's always much, much appreciated. That'll do it for us. Theo Tollefson. I'm Luke Inman on X at Luke_Spinman. We'll see you next time. But until then, signing it out.